Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Today I'm doing a Sunday video to talk about next week's earnings because they're massive, some really big earnings coming out, and I wasn't going to do it a Sunday video this week. I was going to have a day off, but I had a bit of time, so I thought I'd do one, especially with it being such a big week next week. So we're going to talk about some of the news that's coming up next week. We'll talk about some of the news articles that happened this week as well, because it was quite a busy week in the stock market in general. And I would like to do this series a lot more where I talk about some of the stuff that happened, but I don't have enough information to dedicate a few, like a full video to it. So I'd like to do a series where I do like just a quick roundup of some news articles where there's not enough information for a full video, but some really, important articles where stocks have like totally, crashed, fallen off the roof of the house, So I'd like to do that a little bit more, and some of the stuff that's coming up next week. But generally, like the earnings that are coming up this week are crazy. Like such a busy week. I think on Wednesday, like there's 317 companies reporting earnings, which is absolutely insane. I think like always the Halloween week is always busy. I remember one time it actually there was an earnings day with like Apple, Facebook, Google, all reporting earnings on the 31st of October on Halloween, and literally I was trying to watch CNBC and wait for all these earnings to come through, and like trick and treaters were coming because it was Halloween, and I was like, right, I'm turning all the lights out, I'm just watching this TV now. And sometimes it's just crazy like that. So historically this has always been a very busy week for earnings, so we'll talk about some of them that are coming up, and I'm sure you'll have at least one company that is reporting earnings. So obviously the Boohoo situation, I'm not going to talk about it too much because I've got like 3 videos on Boohoo this week, but generally, just a quick point out, very good week for Boohoo on the recovery side of it. I think we're already back to near 280, so we're not too far off 300 already. Like I say, if it does get to 300, I will be selling 10% of my position there. So that was a very quick recovery in Boohoo, which I was really happy with, so I thought I'd just shout that one out. Intel reported earnings after Intel's earnings. Once again, they went down a little bit, so I won't be buying that one again, even though there was a bit of a dip. So I don't know if any of you guys decided to touch Intel. Airtel Africa, a stock that I currently own, they reported earnings. The stock kind of went down a little bit, but not huge. The earnings were kind of in line. And once again, just happy to hold that one because I'm not in there for the share price. It's more of the dividend yield that I'm in the company for that one. And then we had Fastly. Obviously, Fastly is just dropping more and more, and I know a lot of you guys are looking at this one and maybe buying it because of how much it sold off. That's what happens when companies just get way too overvalued, just such a quick decline because it was priced to perfection, and some bad news like that takes it down. I haven't had enough time to look into the company fully to dedicate a video to Fastly. What I will say is that I won't be buying Fastly at the moment because of how far it's off profitability. When I quickly had a glance into the stock, that was the one thing that put me off the company actually buying it, was how far it's off profit. But there is a very decent decline on Fastly for sure, and I'm sure some of you guys did fancy your chances on that one. And the last one was Pinterest. Pinterest had a phenomenal week, a lot of it due to Snapchat. Their Snapchat earnings were just great, really good. People are thinking Pinterest will do the same, and I'm sure they will. The only problem I have with Pinterest now is how much of that expectation is now priced into earnings, but we'll find out this week. But I think a lot will be priced in, which is only the little negative there with Pinterest. But the company itself is definitely, I'm obviously an investor in Pinterest, but looking at the valuation right now, it's definitely an overvalued company. The price to sales is just crazy high, the stock's crazy high, and that's me as an investor saying that the stock is definitely overvalued and is definitely due a pullback. But overall, it was a good week for Pinterest. I think it puts us up 150% and 180% on Pinterest, which is absolutely amazing. So just on the UK earnings front, there's a few here. So there's BT. I know some of you guys are in there for the BT for the 4G play. We also have GSK, which I know some of you guys have asked me to do a video on. I will try to do a video on them at some point. I don't know when. I think the only reason I've never got around to doing a video on these guys is because the growth is just so small, and I think that what also puts me off investing into the company. But I will try to do a video at some point. But there is earnings for them guys coming out this week. We have quite a few oil stocks reporting earnings. So there's Shell that's going to be reporting earnings this week. I know some of you guys are shareholders in Shell, and a company that I own, Whitbread, also better known as Premier Inn, they're a UK company that are reporting earnings this week as well. Now obviously everyone's kind of focused on the US front, which is absolutely crazy. I'm going to say on this chart though, I think Twitter is after the hours, not before the hours, so that's one correction. And I think Google here is down as Monday, but actually I think that's on the Thursday. So we have Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook all on the Thursday, which is going to be insane. But Hasbro on the Monday, see how they do. I think Mattel did decent earnings, so we'll see how strong they are. On the Tuesday we've got Pfizer, 3M, Caterpillar, Raytheon, so there's some good names in there. Even BP, an oil stock. I know some of you guys might own that one. So we'll see what happens with, I think 3M and Caterpillar are always two that I do check out. After the close Thursday is quite a big one. We have Microsoft, company that I own, my biggest position. And then it's AMD on the Tuesday after the close. And then there's a couple of energy stocks as well. We've got First Solar reporting earnings. Wednesday, once again, quite a big day. We've got UPS reporting earnings. Boeing, a company that I own, reporting earnings. General Electric, Fiverr, which obviously we talked about Upwork the other day. So we've got Fiverr reporting earnings. MasterCard, another one of my companies. On the Wednesday after close, Fastly, so the company we talked about right early on in the video, I won't have time to do a full video on them because by the time Fastly earnings come out, that will probably move the stock again, because if you remember, Fastly dropped because they said that their earnings were going to be weak, so we'll see if they're as weak as expected or even weaker, and that will either move the stock probably upwards or downwards, we'll see. And then we've got Etsy reporting earnings, Pinterest reporting earnings, Visa, company that I own, Ford, eBay, so some big names right there. And then for the open, Shopify, which has been an amazing year for them guys. Like I said, Twitter's on the wrong day, I believe. Spotify, Overstock, so some big names in there. And then Thursday after close is just mental. It's like one of those where you sit down in front of the TV watching CNBC from 9 o'clock and don't switch it off to 10:30. So you got Apple, I'm sure one of you guys own these companies. Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and then Google, I think, is on the wrong one, so it should be here, and Twitter. Activision as well, Starbucks, and I've got to say, I've been to Starbucks recently and it's been just heaving. I think people with the work at home don't want to stay at home 5 days a week, so they go to Starbucks and work there one day of the week. I think Starbucks is the one to watch. If I was to bet on one to actually smash earnings here, I'd go Starbucks on this one. And then Friday before the open, even some big names there. We've got ExxonMobil, AbbVie, Chevron, Honeywell, Altria, company that I own. So yeah, every day before the open, after the open, there's definitely some big names on this reporting earnings. So I'm sure I'll be making some videos on these earnings when they do come out. It'll be probably the ones that move the most that I will end up making some information about. I'm sure there'll be a surprise in here for one that explodes. I'm sure there's going to be a surprise for one that actually drops a lot. So we'll exactly see what happens. But like I say, I'll probably make a video on the ones that move the most, and we'll see what happens. Like I say, Thursday's just going to be absolutely mental. So there'll definitely be something mentioned about Thursday this week, I expect, on the channel anyway. So hope that was some useful information as always. And if you can smash the like button for making this Sunday video, it would be absolutely amazing. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you in the next one.